Matt Lentz, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Roger. Nice to see you.
Great to see you, man. Appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to talk to us today. All right. You are a CPA who invests in real estate, and you also have real estate investors as clients, right?
That's correct. That's what we
Okay.
predominantly
Now
specialize.
that's the quick intro, but tell us, just give us a like a 30-second elevator speech on everything that you do.
Sure, absolutely. Definitely entrepreneurial CPA. Tax business is definitely the core bread and butter, but I've also got some investments in other types of businesses as well. Some investments in real estate. I do private money lending, hard money lending. Got a few patents, a few trademarks. So I've got my arms in several things. But my passion and my core business is obviously being a CPA. Been doing that for about 14 years. Started at some of the more prestigious international firms. Got a lot of experience. Was on the road quite a bit. Got to see a lot of people, meet a lot of cool people, do a lot of cool business deals across the country and even outside of the country on some occasions. Got to a point where I was presented with an opportunity to make equity partner at one of the larger firms, but decided that Jacksonville was my hometown, and I love servicing the type of niche clients that are primarily rooted in my hometown. So I took an entrepreneurial leap back in 2019, and bought an existing business that's been around for about 24 years, right here in Jacksonville Beach. And that client base is probably 80% in real estate in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Okay.
So it aligns well with my passions. And I've developed a lot of good relationships, a lot of good client relationships, a lot of value that I've been able to drive for them, and also receive some value in terms of my ability to invest in the local market as well.
Is there a percentage of your client base that is nowhere in Jacksonville or in the state of Florida, or are they all right there?
So I would say it's about 60-40. About 40% of my client base is spread out throughout the United States and across the world. Period. A lot of that is coming from social media, being plugged into different entrepreneurial groups throughout the United States, and just doing the best to service clients and drive value where you can. So word has spread, and we've got a pretty big client base across the United States.
All right, now you've got a course, and I'm putting it on screen here. The Ecom Tax Guy. Um, is that something a little different than real estate?
Yeah, so I mean, the way I view e-commerce is kind of like digital real estate, and it actually was a massive explosion after COVID-19. Essentially, being landlocked and kind of quarantined, a lot of people were looking to
Yeah.
just keep their houses and their families afloat, and so they resorted to something that's been around forever, which is e-com, but kind of niching down and having their own store either on a huge platform or something smaller like Shopify, where they're basically buying and selling products to other end users throughout the United States and throughout the world. So one of the things that I was identifying in that is I have a lot of e-commerce clients because a lot of people that are entrepreneurial buy passive e-com stores that are fully automated. But what happens is there's a lack of an education process put between the buyer and the seller,
Ah.
and inevitably tons of notices from the IRS and the state show up. And so because of the volume of that I was experiencing, I found a solution for the clients to prevent that, and then developed an info product that also gives them access to 10 calls with me included in the package as well.
Oh, all right. One-on-one calls. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So it for those of you that are listening and not watching right now, it's Ecom ECOMM Tax Guy GUY.com. That's ecomtaxguy.com. And that's a course designed to help you get into the world of e-commerce. And by e-commerce you mean Amazon stores, but probably more.
Yeah, pretty much all things that are commerce related sold over the internet is applicable and covered in that course. It does go deeper into the retail space where you're buying and selling actual products, whether it's FBA, direct to consumer, or just an individual store buying and selling. And the major platforms these days are Amazon. You can sell on eBay, Etsy. Facebook has a big marketplace, and then Walmart tried to break in this space recently, but there were some regulatory issues going on that I think they're ironing out as well. But it is a major player in that market as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to create a website one time selling motorcycle enhancements, accessories and shiny bits.
What prevented you from doing it, Roger?
Uh, just a decision, which I think was probably a good one, to stay in my lane with real estate. And,
Okay.
you know, I, I, I don't know if I'll ever be the best at it, but, I want to be the best that I can be. And a wise man has said to me, a fox that chases 5 chickens only catches one. So, yeah,
I like
just
how simple that's put, and obviously you made the right decision
yeah.
because your focus and your energy has produced a lot of fruit. I mean, I admire the success you've had in the real estate space. So I think
Well,
you did good. That probably would have turned into a hobby or a labor of love for you, but maybe not necessarily the biggest commercial business you've ever seen, right?
yeah. And I'm not saying I won't ever do anything else, but I really wanted to stick with real estate long enough to master it. And I see people coming and going. One week they'll show up at my meetings, they'll be real excited, and 6 months later they're selling used cars or cryptocurrency or both, just trying to find a quick way to make a buck. And I guess that works out for some people, but I think I like the idea of getting knowledge, getting skills, building those skills, and then diversifying after you've got something solid going.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was actually just listening to an audiobook yesterday that spoke specifically to that. I love that saying, the fox that chases 5 hens catches one. But Jen Sincero's got a book called You Are a Badass at Making Money, and she spoke to the importance of how entrepreneurs that start business endeavors will make the mistake of too early in their entrepreneurial endeavor, deciding to diversify and go into different types of industries and different
Right.
revenue streams, and having the importance of gaining that deep specialization and that mastery and scaling your business to the
Yeah.
point where it affords you the opportunity to go and do other businesses only after that point. But there are critical mistakes made early on by people who try to do that too soon.
All right, I've got your Instagram handle up there right now on screen for those of you that are listening and not watching. It's at Matt Lentz, Lents CPA, at Matt, Mattlents CPA. And you can follow Matt there on Instagram. And I'm sure you're going to get these little tidbits. All right, let's talk a little bit about diversification because, I believe in income streams and in income silos, but, all of my income streams are real estate. And for me, it was single family flips. And then after that, I went to single family rentals. And then after that, I went to small multifamily rentals. And you see, these are different income streams. Well, the multifamily and the single family are pretty similar, but I'm in the same arena. I'm talking the same types of analysis and numbers and so forth. And so I can bring on these different things. And, right now, well, I don't want to talk about how many income streams I have, but they're all real estate related. How about that?
Awesome.
Stay in the
Yeah,
lane.
that's why I love the real estate client base. It casts such a broad net, right? And multiple rivers of nickels make a dollar, right? So,
Yeah.
you could say you're in real estate, but there's also, that's a broad umbrella, and there's multiple facets under real estate. We've got clients anywhere from the agent space to broker space to lending space to buy and hold, fix and flip, wholesale, all types of different stuff. So that's the cool thing about it, is that if that's something that you're very, very passionate about, you could spend an entire life learning real estate and still die a fool in some regards, because there's no way that anybody's going to know all of it
Yeah.
at the end of your run. So not
Yeah.
only does it keep you learning, keeps you a student, it keeps you passionate, but obviously there's great opportunities financially to benefit from that as well.
All right. Let's back up a little bit, Matt. Um,
Sure,
you're young enough. You probably remember being in the 5th grade.
I do.
Okay. Maybe 5th or 6th grade. Somebody, they had bring your parents to school and talk about their career day. And everybody talked about what their mommies or their daddies did for a living. And sometime in there, you may have had your first thoughts about what you wanted to do when you grew up. I want to know, when you were a little guy thinking about what you wanted to be when you grew up, what was it?
Yeah. Well, first off, shout out to Mr. Henry, my 5th grade teacher. And it's funny you mentioned that because it triggered a memory I hadn't thought about in a while. My mother was pregnant with my sister at the time, and I was so embarrassed that my mom was pregnant when she came into school. And I remember telling her about it. But gosh, what did I want to be back then? I think I wanted to be an artist. I was a very talented drawer when I was young, but interesting twist of fate in life. The spare paper that we had in the house was actually the old school general ledger paper that used to go with the 2 perforated edges and then the green and white ledger bars
Yeah.
that you put your accounting records on. So I was drawing on the back of accounting paper as a youth, wanting to be an artist, and then grew up to be an accountant. So I thought that was a pretty neat
All
twist
right.
of fate.
So one way you could say this is you've been making up stuff to go on ledger pages for years.
That's it, brother. That's it.
Except we're not going to say that.
No, not at all. But accounting can be art more than a science, right? That's what separates the CPAs and the people that are
Man,
talented
when it
tax
comes to
professionals.
interpreting the IRS with the tax code, wow, yeah,
Yeah, it's there's a difference between putting numbers on forms and actually doing tax planning, tax consulting, and restructuring within the confines of obviously the law. So
yeah. So the artist thing didn't work out for you. I gather you never really seriously pursued it.
no, no, I wasn't that self-aware at the ripe old age of what? How old are you? 10, 11 in the fifth
Yeah,
grade. So
yeah,
maybe I was a little behind. I don't know, but I got it
yeah.
out of my system.
But so when you went to college, I guess you had to figure out something practical to major in, and this is where you
Yeah.
gravitated.
Absolutely. I mean, I was actually a business management major when I first started. And then, I started working on a stock analysis problem in one of my classes and was super passionate about it and went down and talked to the career counselor. She was like, "Oh, if you want to be really successful, you can be an accountant." And I was thinking the green visor, with the pocket protectors and all that. And I was like, I'll give it a go. And, I wound up, taking that leap and it worked out pretty well for me. And I have been able to drive a little bit of a different element to the profession. I mean, historically, it's a very conservative, inside the box thinking type world, but it's been great and refreshing to be able to tap into the kind of, value that I've been able to add to people's lives throughout the course of my career. So it's obviously done well for me, in other areas as well.
Well, what do you like to do for fun?
So I, in no particular order, during the fall/winter months, I enjoy hunting. I have been passionate about the sport of boxing since I was about 19, so I'm pretty dialed into the local boxing community.
Ah,
And that's old school Western Orthodox boxing, which shout out to Atlanta, Evander Holyfield. I've actually went and sparred over at his gym that he has.
mm-hmm.
Um, I am very passionate about my entrepreneurial endeavors. That does take up quite a bit of my time as well. I enjoy very, very much doing mindset things, entrepreneurial things. Shout out to Brody Kern, Julian Rosen with the Wake Up Wealthy Brotherhood out in Austin, Texas. They've been a huge part of my life in that community as well. So what they call it, the spiritual workouts. I love doing that kind of stuff. And surfing, last but not least, I really enjoy surfing being here in Florida. I think it's kind of a must.
Well, I thought there might be a reason why you had the surfboards there behind you.
Yeah,
Um,
they're in my office. So I'm 2 blocks in from the ocean. My office is right here off of A1A, which is a popular street in Jacksonville.
yeah,
And so when I'll have people stop by the office and say, "Hey, man, surf's going off." I'm like, "All right, let's just grab it and go." So that's what we do.
yeah. I've never done really well with anything where the ground is moving beneath my feet or the water or whatever.
Well, what about motorcycles? Well, I guess technically the ground's staying
Yeah,
still
but
on
I'm
your.
I'm sitting there, and centripetal force plays a lot of has a lot of, but like skating, skiing, surfing, never been my thing. I think I'm built more for raw power in a straight line at a relatively slow speed.
That's interesting because I am the opposite. I have never had like this attraction to trying out like the motorcycle arena or whatever. Just for some reason, it's just not anything that's been my thing. So at least you tried it and decided that you didn't like it. I haven't even taken that leap yet to give it a go. Did some cross biking or what is it, motocross back in the day, but nothing any kind of seriousness.
Yeah. All right. Well, our time is almost gone. I've been talking with Matt Lentz, and he's his. Well, what's your website? Or you want people to hit you up on your um, Insta Instagram, and there's
Yeah,
Matt Lentz.
at Matt Lentz CPA is my Instagram handle.
Yeah.
If you go there, you can find other links to other websites with other
Yeah.
entrepreneurial endeavors. And I do try to give back to the community by posting free content. Realistically, it's mostly in the off season during tax season. I'm not the best at it just because of how limited the time
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
time.
Hey, I'm a valued client with my CPA, and uh, one of his inside guys, and I can't reach him during tax season, so that's understandable, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely.
all right. So people can follow you on Instagram, and also you've got the ecom course and more stuff coming down the pike. Matt, it's been great talking to you today. Thanks for joining us
Well,
on
Roger.
Flipping America.